a number of factors that are contributing to it. The first one is just the number of connected devices in the world. Which by 2020, most estimates tell us it will be 50 billion connected devices in the universe. And if you think about it today, I mean, I've got a laptop here, I've got a mobile phone, I've got 2 other computers at my house, you know, how many more others, you know, I got a connected thermostat, I got connected burglar alarm, so the amount of connected devices. The second is just the proliferation of being busy. You know, the notion that we're trying to do more all the time with what we have causes you to get distracted. And as sophisticated as, you know, users generally in IT are about phishing, but you're just going to accidentally click on something. Another factor is that the threat actors themselves are getting far more sophisticated. So they can take a First Merit email and doctor that thing up and it looks like it's come from First Merit. They can doctor that URL, or if you don't hover over it to look at it, the simple things like that can make you in an instant think, oh, a bank wants to know something about me. And I know a lot of it's common sense, but when you're moving fast to try and get a lot of work done, and these threat actors are getting more and more sophisticated, it becomes problematic. And Barry Hensley, the guy I was speaking about earlier, I was at an ILTA trade show in Nashville a couple of weeks ago, and he did a scenario where he walked through and literally hunted one of his VP of sales down. And he did that by, you know, obviously going to his LinkedIn profile. Everybody here have a LinkedIn profile? Talks about your experience, where you worked. He did a little research on the internet, and then, you know, based on his, he was also an Air Force guy, but he, you know, by his fraternity house. He then went onto Facebook and found people from that fraternity house and did a little bit more searching and found actually this guy was in a fraternity with 12 other guys, you know, just 20-some years ago. And so he sent this guy an email with a spoofed email address. It looked like it was from his buddy's email account, saying, hey, long time no see, how you doing? And got some more information from him. Had you know, hidden his persona, and then found out who his wife's name was and started hunting her down. Eventually sent his wife an email with a spoofed email address. He didn't hover over it. The guy was real hurry. Oh, my wife's sending me an email. And actually sent back to her his social security number because he found out through MLS that they were buying a house and had recently sold one. So he put some real personal information in there, and what he didn't do, he signed it Love Jess, and the wife always signed her name Jessica, and that's how he caught it. But if he'd shortened that name up, or hadn't shortened that name up, the wife would have, you know, I mean, he would have, you know, known and clicked on the link. And so, and it's getting that sophisticated. These guys in Ukraine and Russia and Chinese hackers are learning more and more about you, your environment, your IT systems, and how to break the bank, and that's not going to end.
So if I can add one or two things, Chuck, I think there's a couple of contributing factors. You know, I think the one gentleman said, hey, people do this by mistake. And yeah, that's true, right? And one of the reasons the insider is such a big threat is not only do they make mistakes, but they already have the access. And I think one of the contributing problems is companies not, you know, to the woman's point here about her salespeople, right? People aren't applying access based on least privilege, right? To only give people access to what they need to do their job. It's not always an easy thing to do. Right? It's easier just to give them access to the whole thing, right, as opposed to trying to limit it. But I think that contributes to it. The other thing, I think, is the mentality of senior leadership that, you know, if somebody makes a mistake and clicks on it, well, IT should be able to fix that, right? So IT, go do something about that, right? Forget about trying to educate the user not to click it in the first place, you know, but tell IT to go fix it behind the scenes. And there are technologies that can protect against that. And one of them that we use, you know, well, if it sees a link come in that, you know, is unrecognized or is known to be malicious, it'll replace that link. So when you click on it, right, that doesn't happen. But again, that's relying on IT to fix the problem, and that's just a Band-Aid. It's not going to help the bigger issue.